They're in a blacked out SUV. You can't really see in there anyway. The object of the game seemed to be to conduct a surveillance that took them back to where they were going, so that the paparazzi could stake that out, you know, camp out there, and then be able to follow their every move. So they were trying to thwart that. And I mean, that goes literally, they go all the way uptown, can't shake them, they're trying to slow down. Now, they're not running red lights, they're not speeding, but these people are swarming around, blocking the front of the car, driving through red lights into oncoming traffic. At one point, when two of the SUVs in the motorcade didn't move while the car with the Duke and Duchess went, one of those paparazzi cars mounted the sidewalk, hit something, skirted the corner, came off the sidewalk, pedestrians scattering.
How long did this go on for?
So this goes on for an hour and a half plus, until they finally say, we've been uptown, we've been downtown to 23rd Street, uptown to 96th Street, FDR Drive, 3rd Avenue, side streets, and we can't lose this pack. So Tommy Buddha, who is the guy running the motorcade on the private security side, former FBI, NYPD, JTTF detective, very competent guy, says, let's go somewhere safe, take a breather and make a plan. So they go to the 19th Police Precinct. That's where they shift to the taxi, but the spotters for the paparazzis end up following them. And then they go to plan C, which actually works.
And they shifted to the taxi, John, as a decoy to throw off the paparazzi?
The idea would be the paparazzi were focused on the motorcade that was in place. And if they could slip them into a taxi that would then disappear at midnight into a sea of other taxis in Manhattan traffic, it might actually be the getaway, because the place they were going actually wasn't far away. It was a couple of blocks.
Okay, that was sort of what the mayor was alluding to. How could it be a high-speed chase in New York City? We wish that we could do a high-speed chase, but at times it was, right, John?
So this was never a high-speed chase, because the motorcade had an NYPD element in it from the Intelligence Bureau. And the instructions were, we're not lights and sirens, we're not running lights, we're following traffic regulations, we're there as a protection detail. Now, the paparazzi, that was a different set of rules, because they went high speed to catch up. There was a time on 34th Street where they were, you know, half a block behind the motorcade, and they literally crossed the yellow lines, drove into oncoming traffic until they caught up and placed themselves back there. That was among 20 things that happened, you know, from 23rd Street to 96th Street as they tried to stay, you know, on their tail.
Sonny, had you ever seen anything else like this in your years of driving taxi?
No. I've been driving now since 2018. This was the first time I saw this. You know, I had other celebrities, but other celebrities never got that much attention from the paparazzis.
That's interesting. And so does that give you a sense? I mean, now today, with all the attention that this has gotten, does that surprise you? And does it give you a sense of what their lives must be like?
Yeah, you can tell, right? He lost his mother, you know, running away from the paparazzis as well. So you can tell they were nervous and scared in the car.
Yeah.
They would have been covered as representatives of the crown, as members of the royal family, as a diplomatic trip. Basically, they're private citizens now, and not on a government mission here. But, you know, the first rule of risk management, as we were taught long ago, is predictable is preventable. When you have two people that you know are going to draw this kind of attention and potentially this kind of mayhem, you put a police element in there just in the name of public safety. And that's why the NYPD was, along with the private security. The complicating factor is, as it was just said here by Richard, that's to protect them from threats that you would have against royals and people like that, terrorists, stalkers, you know, assassins, the normal threats. When you're surrounded by, you know, this swarm of press that are literally slowing you down, blocking you at intersections, then trying to catch up to you, if there is a real threat, getting off the X is that much harder.
Yeah. Aaron, it's interesting to hear Sonny say that he's transported celebrities before, but he's never seen anything like this.
It's just, I think it's really hard for us in the US to understand the scale of the interest that still exists in the UK for them. Once we, in the month of February, Meghan made no public appearances, and we kind of, as a journalistic exercise, decided to count the number of stories that the Daily Mail ran on her. Never spotted in public at any point in time more than 100 stories. And some of them were just like, you know, they're just things that happened, like something from her blog from 2014 that was repeated 4 times. And it's just, at a certain point, you know, they understand now that they can't really get rid of that interest, but I think that they're trying to do their hardest to, you know, I think that they've been using shame tactics, they've been using legal tactics to try to discourage some of this. And so I think that that's why this became public in the first place, is because people started running those photos and they were thinking, okay, we don't want them to be running these photos. We don't want the people who are making our lives miserable last night to make the money off of it. And after sharing the story, the Daily Mail and the Express took those photos down.
See, Richard, even when they lay low,
on Sunday and the Mail Online, the way it's been phrased within the Mail on Sunday and the Mail Online is just that looking forward to the Queen's Diamond Jubilee celebrations in June. I mean, they are literally saying that if Harry and Meghan come, the media circus around them will distract from the Queen's celebrations. Well, who is driving the media circus around them? Step forward, the Mail Online and the Mail on Sunday.
Exactly. And Angela has been saying so many that Harry says he wants security and he might be in danger. Oh, please, he's narcissistic. So I would like to draw the attention to an article that was in the Mirror in March last year, where under the heading, as Army, let me just read it out again so I get it right. Prince Harry amongst most at-risk royal as Army service makes him top terror target. And the journalists have interviewed a couple of years back somebody from the Taliban who said ever since he joined the army, they've been trying to get him. And then they, as an Afghan leader, Owari Masrullah, who said it's just Harry's luck that you've been managed to escape so far. And then they've interviewed a former SSL soldier, Bob Kraft, and this was on the 11th of March 2021, who said that Harry is clearly a target for kidnapping, terrorism, and a whole lot of threats, and will need protection for a very long time. But whatever you think he should or shouldn't, and this gets me upset.
Oh, Gertrude.
5 days. Kim Whisker's country for 10 years, and the Queen observed us for 70 years, and they can't give them 5 days peace. It's horrendous.
Gertrude, please. I'm sorry you feel so sort of emotional about it, and I can understand why this story might resonate with people, and certainly anybody who's had family difficulties. I'm sure you can feel or empathise with different characters in this story. Gertrude, I'd like to say, I mean, I take all your points, brilliant points, by the way, about how Harry is a target and has been a target for evil.
That's it for now. Please like, subscribe, share, donate, etc. If you would like to make a donation and you don't know how, to help support this channel, you can go to the comments section where you can find links to the Patreon, the PayPal, and the Cash App. Thanks for watching Royal Sussex.